Hello and welcome to Jupe School Online's presentation of Learn to Juggle and Make Your Own Juggling Balls with the Green Fools, Calgary's legendary physical theater company. My name is Aaron Coates and I am the Arts and Community Engagement Coordinator at the Southern Alberta Jubilee Auditorium in Calgary. And wherever this finds you, if this finds you locally or if this finds you internationally, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. I want to begin by acknowledging the land. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play in the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. So, Jupe School is a multidisciplinary site school experience operating out of both the Jubilee Auditorium in Calgary and in Edmonton, Alberta. We engage learners in exploration of the arts with an ethnocultural focus. So check us out. You can go to www.jubeschool.com. You can find us on the socials at Instagram, Facebook, etc. So check us out. Say hi. Send us messages. We'd love to hear from you. So this afternoon, I'm very pleased to welcome the amazing Thea Killen-Smith from Green Fools. Green Fools is a legendary Calgary theater company that does masks, stilts, puppetry, street performance, circus, you name it, they do a variety of things. And so we have Thea with us today, and we also have Dean Barham, one of the co-founders of Green Fools, and you are going to make your own juggling balls today. And you're going to get a chance to learn to juggle. So if you have never juggled before, fantastic. You'll get your start today. We can't guarantee you'll necessarily have it perfectly, but you'll learn the basics. The basics are pretty straightforward. And then you can amaze your friends. Find 3 pieces of fruit that are just sitting in a bowl and juggle them. So can you please give a virtual welcoming round of applause to the amazing Thea Killen-Smith.
And Dean Barham. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
And I found this guy, so I thought I'd drag him along. This is Dean. This is one of the co-founders of Green Fools, and my buddy. He's going to be helping us with the juggling aspect today because he's kind of a pro.
I'm not a pro, but I can juggle a little bit. So I'll be back in a little bit to help with the juggling part. Thea's totally got the juggling ball making process under control. So I'll pass it over to the amazing Thea.
Hello. All right. So Thea Killen-Smith, that's me. Excited to be here, everybody. So I've been in Calgary my whole life, being an artist pretty much my whole life, even if it was on the side. And now I get to work with Green Fools and kind of do it a lot more, which is awesome. I love this company. They've kind of made my dreams come true. So today we get to be doing juggling balls. Now, this is awesome for me because I originally took a class on how to make juggling balls through the Green Fools during COVID. And I had so much fun that I went off and I made juggling balls for all of my friends and family for presents, and they kind of loved it. And there's now a couple of jugglers in our group, which is really cool that some people got to pick that up and have new hobbies. So maybe you guys will be inspired, or maybe you can make gifts for people and inspire them. But just passing on the love of art and circus is always just a really wonderful way to spread joy and just think about good things that are going on in our lives right now and to share that with each other. So there's never a opportunity to not share good things in times like these, I think. So this is a great time to have fun. Now I can show you, these are the ones that I originally made with the Green Fools. I've still got them. And I still practice with them, not often enough because I'm usually busy doing a lot of other things, but I do hope to get back out into the fields this summer and practice and maybe teach my 7-year-old how to juggle. He might be ready. We'll see. So the first thing we're going to go over is all of the stuff that you're going to need to make these today. I'm going to pop another camera on here as well, just so that you guys might have another view of what I'm doing on my space. So I was like making sure everybody can see what's going on here. So there's 2 different kinds that we might make today, and there's slightly different things that you're going to want for either of those. So one method that we're going to do is by using a tennis ball. So you can get these at the dollar store. Maybe you've got them kicking around in your basement or garage that you don't use anymore. But those make a really good starter for juggling balls, and they're all going to be the same size, same shape, easy peasy, especially if you got them lying around. Another kind that we're going to do, like the kind I made with the green pools originally, these ones, these are my favorites. These ones, we're going to use balloons and rice. We use rice in the tennis ball ones as well. So that gives it nice weight, because you want to know where you're throwing them and have them be sure of where they're going. If they're too light, it gets a little tricky. If they're too heavy, they're falling around, but we've got a really good system to set you up for success today. But I like to use the balloon method. For that one, you're going to need just kind of like a sandwich bag for each ball. So I've got 3 or 4 here. So I usually like to make sets of 3, because then you can kind of practice with 1, move up to 2. Once you get good with 2, you can challenge yourself throwing 3 in, or just doing crazy tricks with just 1 ball or 2 balls at a time is a really good challenge. Like, you may think that, oh, I can only juggle 1 ball, but you can do so much with just 1. You can get crazy. So what I love about circus is get crazy. So make sure you got your sandwich bags. You're going to need some tape. I just use masking tape. It's cost efficient and it works great for this. So just make sure you have some masking tape or another kind of tape just to close that up, because you don't want your innards spilling out. We're using rice today to fill our juggling balls. These ones that I made originally, these are just old popcorn kernels, because I had a whole bunch of stale stuff lying around. So it just made sense to use. You can use a lot of different things. I've used lentils before that were way past their date. It's a good way to help mom clean out the pantry for spring cleaning, help dad clean out, his snack stash. But we're going to use rice today because that's what we've got lying around. And I like to keep everything measured the same. That way, all your juggling balls will stay the same size, which makes it easier for when you're catching them. You know what to expect. Your hands know what to expect. It's kind of a muscle memory thing. So that makes things easier. I usually do half a cup is kind of what I find to be like the perfect amount of filler. And that's good. I've got pretty small hands. You can't tell, there's no one to compare to here, but I got pretty small hands. And so that works for kids too, and grown-ups. If you got bigger hands, you can fill them up a little more if that's what you like. It's all up to you. So make sure we got everything going here. You're also going to need scissors. They don't need to be crazy sharp. They just need to be able to cut through a balloon pretty much. If you are going to do the tennis ball version, I will say that it's very good to have a grown-up or someone who is brave at least and very good with sharp things to help you out with that. Because with those tennis balls, you're going to need to poke a hole in them. And that can get these things are pretty tough, and you don't want to slip with the knife and cut yourself. Steak knives work, X-Acto blades. Just get someone who knows what they're doing for that. I know when I made one of these kind at home, I actually asked my partner to do the cutting because he's a chef and he works with knives all day, and I was just feeling a little nervous that day. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And it's a collaborative project too. All right. So we can get going today. One thing we did grab for these that we like to use, you can also wrap them with the balloons, the other style, but we like to use kind of tape like this. And then we wrap them all up at the end, and it helps seal them up and decorate them. And this is the fun thing about juggling balls is you can make them fun and colorful and crazy. You can make them simple and all one color. You can decorate them. It's all up to you. I love that about it. Is everybody can do what they want. All right. So to get going today, first thing we're going to need, we're going to start off with our balloon juggling balls. And we're going to need our sandwich bags. You're going to need your measuring cup. And we're going to need our filler. So I got my rice here. I'm going to make sure my cup is full, nice, even. Good, half cup of rice. This is making me a little hungry. Thinking of stir fry now. that weird person who, as soon as I hear the word stir fry, I start craving broccoli. And there's a bunch of kids out there that I know are going to think I'm crazy for that. But I love broccoli. And you just want to twist that up real nice there. Make sure that's tight. And get just a good, round shape with your bag of rice going there. Got our masking tape. And you just want to take that tape and make sure that you are sealing up the bag so that your rice isn't going to leak all over. And I usually like to do 2 pieces just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. And we got our little bag of rice. All right, so lunch is made. Throw that in your bag and off to school you go. No, okay, but maybe cook it first. Got your bowl all nice round up. Now, if you want to do kind of all of them at once, that's one way you can go. So you're kind of all on the same page. You do all your rice first, maybe. I usually like to do it that way just because that way I can clean up one thing and get it out of the way and then have space for the rest of what I'm working on. Other times I get too excited and I just have to go through all the process of making one just because I'm so excited about making them. And then I get to go back and make a whole other one. And maybe it makes a big mess, but as long as I'm cleaning up my mess, it's okay to make a mess. Sometimes I think we get too afraid of making messes. Especially after COVID, we've been so clean for so long that it's okay to get a little crazy. So I'm going to start with 2 there just to have those ready in case I need them. All right. Now, when I wrap my balloons around these, I usually like to do several layers just to make it stronger. Now, balloons are going to degrade over time, especially the more you use them, the more you touch them. The salt and the oils and the sweats and all the dirt, all that stuff on your hands is going to add to the breaking down. But the great thing about these that you've made yourself is you can always go back in, maybe take a layer off if it's falling apart and replace it later. So you can keep them going, keep them looking good, keep them fresh, change up the patterns, and they will last you a very long time. I usually do about 3 base layers of balloons. So that's 3 balloons on my rice bag here. And then you'll see I did my polka dots. I'll show you guys how to do that. That's kind of the 4th layer, that extra color. That way it's just nice, tight, strong, solid. And usually what I do is I take my balloon and I cut it around there. So you've kind of got that round part of the balloon. The neck is gone. You've got space to stretch it open. And you're going to fit that over your ball of rice. Now, if you find that it's still a little too tight around the neck, maybe you want a little more loose. I always start off with cutting a little less than a little more because you can always cut off more, but you can't put it back. Measure twice, cut once. And then you're just going to wrap that around a big bag of rice. It's very satisfying, this part. Something about having that balloon just go on and all of a sudden, it's already starting to look like a juggling ball. It's still a little misshapen, but the more balloons you add, the shape of the balloon, that roundness is going to kind of force it into being more of a ball shape, especially as you want to put the balloons on. It's going to have that little hole there where the little neck of the balloon was. You're going to want to put the next balloon on top over that part so that you're not really leaving any holes, so that you don't really have any spots where it's going to be weaker. You want to cover all the weak spots. And you can use all of the same color balloon underneath. You can change it up Just keep in mind that if you want yellow on the outside, yellow might show the colors of the other balloons underneath. Maybe that's cool. Maybe that's what you want. It's all part of color theory a little bit. Oh, see, I left that one a little long. I can just go in and trim that off a bit if I want. Kind of like a juggling ball belly button a little bit. He's got an outie. And that's fine because that's just going to get tucked under because I'm going to do another layer here. Now, usually when I grab balloons, I kind of go with whatever balloon I have the most color of is the one that I put underneath. But sometimes it's all just dependent on what colors I want them to end up at the end. So just have fun with it. Get crazy, man. That. Put another one on, seal it up. Oopsies. Sometimes they're a little slippery, and that can be when it's good to have someone else around to help you out with this stuff. When it's just trying to hold on to round things that roll, sometimes can get a little tricky. The balloons are pretty grippy though, so that definitely helps. And then you'll see there. So see now I've put 3 balloons on that rice bag, and look how round it's going. Like on my camera from where I'm looking in the camera, it looks like I'm holding a mandarin orange. Which going with the rice is just keeps making me hungrier. I got that. And then usually this is, I'll start doing my other one to make sure that they're kind of the same at this point. And I think I'm going to keep going with, we do orange underneath. Let's change it up. Let's start off again. We'll do orange. Gonna get our base layer on there. This balloon's playing sticky. Being shy. On there. I got 2 mandarin oranges. Remember, don't eat the juggling balls. They won't taste as good as they look, I promise. Cut my next off. Put my next layer on, covering that button there. And if you've got along the way any kind of irregularities or lumps, you can kind of just mush those into place as you go so it rounds out. One more layer here, throw a red one on. There we go. So we've got our red ones. This one's kind of like a clown nose. Big red one. And always, you've got these little parts, that's okay. You can trim them down shorter if you want it to be shorter on the outside, but I'm still putting another layer on there, so I'm not too worried about that one. But if you want it to be your last layer, maybe trim those just a little bit shorter, and that'll actually will give you one of the holes that's polka dots on your balls if you're using different colors there. Perfect. So you have balls like this at this point. They're nice and round. They've got 3 layers of balloons on them to keep them nice and solid. Everything's together. Everything's packed in tight. Now, a lot of people like to just keep them one color. That's awesome. You can make them match your outfit. You can have 3 different colors. It can be a matching set. Some people, that's what works. I got a little, I wanted to keep going with it. I think I just didn't want to stop making juggling balls. So I figured out how to make them polka dot. And there's different ways you can do that. It's all just about taking the last balloon that you're gonna cover it with, and then cut that one down shorter because it's my final piece. So just that round part of the balloon again, cut its neck off. And for this one, you're just gonna wanna cut holes into that balloon, because that's once stretched out is going to give you those polka dots. Now, the best thing to get really nice round circles for really good sharp polka dots is something like this. So like a hole punch, or we've got ones like this in our workshop. You may have ones for paper at home. If mom and dad say it's cool to use those and they're willing to share, that's cool. You can just use scissors. You might get strange little shapes cut out that way, but that can be cool too. You might end up with something that looks more like a star than a polka dot. And if you guys end up doing that and you get some cool results, post it on Instagram, tag us on Facebook, wherever. I love seeing what you guys end up coming up with, because everybody inspires everybody else. You might give me a great idea. You make me go, oh my God, that's the best juggling balls I've ever seen. So never be afraid to share. Show off a little. So those guys, I'm just gonna do one with some little hole punches here. Not gonna get too crazy today because I spend more time teaching you guys how to make your own. I'm not sure I like this one so much, but I'm going to stick to ones like this just because I have better control over it. And if you are using a hole punch like this, make sure you've got something to protect the surface underneath. So you don't want to be doing this on the dining room table without anything to stop that. So you just do that. And then you'd end up pulling. I'd cut mine better, but I'm just excited thinking about the juggling part. That's one way to cut holes out. I think this one that I've got right now just isn't very sharp too. But you can also, like I say, take your scissors, go in there, just make little cuts, little shapes. Maybe they'll be crazy. Kind of looks like a might look like a dinosaur egg when I'm done. Strange splotches. It's like tie-dye. You never know quite exactly what you're going to get with this way. You make little circles, little cuts, bigger cuts for bigger polka dots. That's kind of the idea of that. So you can see here, looks pretty silly when it's just sitting like that, doesn't it? And when you're cutting those holes out is going to give you some cool effects when you pop that onto the other one. Going. There you go. So this is real quick, but you can already see that some of those polka dots, you stretch that balloon out and you kind of get some cool looking things there. And again, that hole you cut where you cut the neck off the balloon, that's going to give you one of those polka dots already. And you can just keep going with that. I do kind of like it. It does, with the green, it really does kind of look like some kind of dinosaur egg. I wonder what kind of dinosaur would hatch from that. A Juggalosaurus? Now I want to dress up as a Juggalosaurus for Halloween. Perfect. So now you guys have that idea of how to do that. You just want to do that with both ears. I'm going to use green for the other one just to make a match. Cut some more whole polka dots in there. Because our dinosaur egg, he's got to have a friend. So you don't want a lonely dinosaur. They'll totally wreck your house. And dinosaurs don't pick up after themselves. So you'd have to do that. So definitely give your dinosaur a friend. Oops. I bet if you cut the holes in the right places, you could probably make one look like a skull. Make pirate juggling balls. There you go. Now you've got a couple of polka dot juggling balls ready to go. I like to usually use one color that shows up in each one of them, kind of ties them together like a set. Pretty easy, right? And you guys could do this. You're gonna have to go off and teach your friends how to do it next. Now, the other kind we were talking about, you guys remember back to our tennis balls here, It's not too dissimilar, just slightly different steps. So we talked about having someone help you with the cutting because this part, these things can be pretty tough to cut through. I don't know if you can see there, but that's like almost a 1/4 inch thick of rubber. That's not like cutting paper. So we get friends to help us cut that if we're not sure. Well, it was lucky. So we use steak knives work, X-Acto blades. Again, get someone who knows how to use these. I got Dean cut these ones for us. So sometimes the cutting part scares me. And I'm not afraid to say that. And you're going to use your rice again. Now, something that really can help with this one, trying to get that in there, is a funnel. Now, I've got a pretty big one here. It kind of just fits into that hole on that ball. But any size works as long as it gets the rice in there. And I'm going to measure out again, just because that way it's good when you're juggling balls all weigh kind of the same weight. Just makes it easier to keep it even, have your hands know what they're expecting. Less surprises so that you can focus on surprising the audience instead of you being surprised while you're trying to impress them. I got my cup of rice here, half a cup of rice. And you kind of just shake that in there until all the rice goes in. Like dancing bugs. Like I should get some music going. And depending what you're using, like especially if it's something bigger, this may take a second just to get everything in. I think this funnel is kind of funny too. It's a funnel. Going in, right? You going in? Oh, see, I'm making a mess now. And it's okay if your funnel doesn't work, because you can still slowly this way. Oh, we might just cut that hole a little bit bigger.
And I'll show you. I have a little technique. Sometimes if I don't have a funnel and all I have is some cardboard, I'll just take a piece of cardboard. This is like pop, and then I'll make like a little funnel like this out of it.
And then you can adjust the size of the funnel too if you need something a little bit bigger or a little smaller.
Exactly. And then I will tape this, a little bit of masking tape.
There we go. Woo-hoo.
Okay, we'll try it again. This time we'll pour it into that.
Yeah. There, I'll push the ball there. That'll help
Side.
too.
So you see how that goes in there, and then you can just sort of pour it into that. This might make a bit of a mess.
But like we
Okay.
said earlier, it's okay to make a mess as long as we clean our mess up later.
Nice.
Kind of like being at a wedding.
Okay. And I'll put some more of this back in the cup for you.
Now it looks like my tennis ball doesn't want to fit a whole half cup anyways, which is okay.
Oh yeah? Oh good. There you go.
You just fill it up till it's full and it's happy. In my house, we call that sufficiently saphoncified, when you've had your dinner and you've had enough and you're full. It's our fancy way. I'm sufficiently saphoncified. Or you could just say, I'm so full, I'm going to explode. But, you know, that might turn someone else off their dinner. And once you've got that all full up, see all that rice in there, you're going to want to make sure to tape that part closed because we want to keep all that rice in there. Remember, we had our masking tape last time. I'm going to use this tape that we've got for decorating because this is also going to help seal it in.
Tape. Electrician's tape.
Yeah.
Get it at the dollar store?
Electrician's tape. We get it at the dollar store. You can get it in different colors. You probably see it mostly in black, which is good too. You can get it in different colors. And you're just going to want to make sure that you're wrapping around so that is all sealed. Now I'm going to cut that out probably about there. So I've got a nice, good starter base. And at this point, I'm feeling like I want to use a different color. And I'm going to use yellow. I always go for green. It's my favorite color, not just because I'm a green fool. I don't know if you notice, I like green. Yellow like the sunshine. Yellow like the daffodils out in the gardens. And you can make stripes this way. Other colors, make it crazy. And just keep putting that on, and so that you feel that it's really secure. Nothing's gonna fall out of there or explode or leak, and it looks beautiful. And it's good to make sure that you cover up all of the tennis ball stuff, partly because that tennis ball fabric is going to get dirtier easier. So it'll be easier to clean the juggling balls if they're all covered. And also it'll just keep everything together a little bit better. Oh, those little sneaky parts. And one last, because I've got 4 colors, I have to use them all. That's just a me thing. I like the electrician's tape because it's stretchy. So you can kind of bend it in different directions to get different spots covered. Yeah, I'm gonna go up and over and just make sure that last little bit of tennis ball there is covered. And there you go. And you can cut polka dots out of your electrical tape if you want and stick those on. You can do other crazy stripes. I kind of like wrapping them just insane just to see what colors come up this way, but it's all up to you. So now you've got the idea of how to do the tennis ball juggling balls, and we've got our rubber balloon juggling balls, and you now know 2 ways to make those. And again, you can make these for your friends and family, make them for yourself, however you like, and get out there and practice, because there's nothing holding you back. You could be an amazing juggler. You just got to put in the time and practice. Everything takes practice. Now, I am still working on learning to juggle myself. Dean is going to give us a really good rundown on how to do it to set us all up for success, and so that I can go practice on my lunch break. Dino?
Okay, I'll come in. Hi. Okay, so you hope you all have now, like, you may not have 3 juggling balls yet. So I'm kind of wondering, give you a bit more. I think I should give you a few more minutes so at least you have 3, so we can at least get 2 done, because we're going to start with 1, then move to 2, and probably need to add have the 3rd one by the end of this. So let's make another real quick one. Let's do that together so we can have that. So you can have at least 2 to start, okay?
And then I can use all this rice that I threw everywhere.
That's right. Rice. We'll fill up another one because I want you to have at least 2 to start. Okay. I'll show you 3. You might get to 3 if you already can do 2. And I think we're like, yeah, because you guys have made 1 of each.
We've made 2 of our balloon ones, and we've got 1 tennis ball one.
Probably have 3.
And 3 is good because you accidentally throw one over the neighbor's fence while you're practicing, and then you need another one.
Well, I'm going to borrow yours for a second then, if you don't mind.
Borrow
yours. So I have these 3. I'm going to lift this camera here. And this little camera right here is probably not going to do us any good here. So I'm
just going to get rid of that guy.
That one. What I want you to do now, I don't have a lot of room in here, but we'll make do. All you really need is like a living room. You don't need super high ceiling. We're not going to throw them up that high. But what I want you to do is hold your arms kind of straight out from your body like this. Kind of hold them like in a 90-degree or parallel to the floor, right? And I want you to try to keep your hands there when you throw and catch, if you can. So you're going to take the one ball and you're going to throw. I want you to imagine that right here in front of your hands is a window. Okay. It's just a square window. And I'm going to take the ball from my right hand. I'm going to throw it to the top corner of the window and it'll land in this hand. Okay. And then I'll throw it to this corner up here and it'll land in this hand. So it'll look like this. So I'm kind of throwing it there. Now you'll notice I'm kind of scoop a little bit of a scoop. Okay, so I'm just, and you'll notice also, where am I looking? I'm not looking at the ball. I'm not watching the ball. I'm actually looking where I want the ball to go. That's important too. Really look where you want it, because then if you see where you're looking at, you want to go, then you'll throw it there. Or more likely to. It may not happen. Now, this might be tricky for you. If it's falling and dropping, that's part of juggling. You're going to drop a lot, but that's why we make this style of ball so that when it hits the ground, it doesn't bounce and keep rolling away. It hits the ground and it stays there. That's kind of the deal. You can use like any kind of ball to juggle, but sometimes you end up chasing them a lot. So that's why we make this style of ball. So again, just throw from there to that window to that window. And what I want you to be able to do before you go to the next step is to be able to do that 10 times in a row without dropping. And if you drop, start back at 1 again. So 1, 2, 3. Oops, I dropped by accident. Pick that up, start at 1 again. That's the kind of practice when you can do the 10 easy, no problem. Looking at the 2 spots. Then I can start to go to the next stage, okay? Now, because I don't know where you're at, what level you're at, and how this is going for you, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to practice that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to show you there's a few other tricks you can do with one ball. You can take this ball and you can throw it under this arm and catch it with that hand. So I throw it under and catch, under and catch, under and catch. Then I'll go back to my regular pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, under, catch, 1, 2, and you start mixing it up. Under, catch, 1, under, catch, 2, under, catch. You can keep moving it back and forth, under, over, under. Okay, you can even try throwing it over and catching it with that hand over there. Throw it over there, catch it back in this hand, throw it under that hand, catch it here. I'm throwing under that hand, catch it with that hand, or catch it with the same hand. You see the difference? This one I'm throwing it under, catching it with the same hand. Other way. So then you start mixing it up. This is all juggling, all different patterns. You play with the patterns, right? You can even do things like this where I make a shape like this and throw it up here and try to catch it through the window, like this. Catch it through the window. Right? Or throw it through the window and catch it on the other side of the window. You can do things like where I'm going to try to throw it back from behind my head and catch it down here. This one's a little tougher, but I managed to make it. Throw it here, catch it down here. Oh, missed that time. So you can also do things, I'll tip it down a little bit. You can go under the leg even. You can lift your leg and go under the leg. And then under the leg. I don't have a lot of room, but I'm basically throwing from the inside to the outside of my leg. Inside to the outside. Oops. Or I could go outside in and go from the outside to the inside. Inside out. So inside to the out, outside to the in. Mix those up. You can even try throwing it behind your back. I can try throwing it like here over my shoulder and catch it in front. It's like this. Throwing it over my shoulder. Got it from the side so you can see. Over my shoulder, catch it right there. You're going to drop a lot. That's what juggling is all about. Learning how to drop a lot. Over my shoulder. Oh, didn't quite get that one. There we go. Over my shoulder, and I missed the catch. Try that again. You can try crossing it, throw from this shoulder, catching it over this shoulder. Oops, or hit yourself in the back. The guy did it. Try it again, over the shoulder and catch it over here, right? All these different moves. That's one ball juggling. Okay, so let's grab our second ball. So you'll practice those, do it a lot, try it a lot, and you'll have a whole bunch of fun doing this. I'm gonna grab my second ball. Okay, actually, I'll use these two over here. You can use that one. So now I'm gonna hold those two balls, and you can try different things with this, like one, throw it straight up, catch it there. Two columns. One column, two column. One column, two column, right? You're playing with just two vertical columns. I can try throwing them across. Now, here's the technique. To learn, what we're going to do is teach you how to do a cascade. And a cascade looks like this, okay? I'll do it just a quick version of it to show you what we're going to get to. Then I'll show you how to get there. Cascade looks like this. Nice and slow. I can throw them high. I can throw them low. So how we get to cascade is we start with two. I throw this one up. So again, I go back to the window technique. I throw this one to this corner of the window up here. And when it hits its apex, that's when I throw the next one. So I don't throw them both at the same time. I throw this one first, let it hit its apex, and then I throw the next one. Let me show you what I mean. So it looks like this. I count it out. I find counting helps. I go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll notice my eyes are still focused up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now, if I'm always starting with my right, switch. Start with your left. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to get them to those two spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm keeping a little low so it doesn't go out of the screen for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Start with your left and then start with your right. Just keep switching back and forth, and it should look like that. So you see how I'm not throwing the second one until this one hits the apex. The apex means the top of the curve. So when I throw it to that, then I throw it. Now you'll notice when I do this, there's a bit of a pause in between. I can't keep going. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can add the third ball. Again, don't go to the third ball until you can do this 10 times in a row without dropping. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want consistent throws. I don't want one be down here and one up here. Now, there's a thing that happens with people. I call it the Bugs Bunny technique. And it's something, well, I think it's because we've watched cartoons so long and they always juggle like this in cartoons, right? This isn't wrong. It's the type of juggling. When you do 3 in a row, they call it a shower and it looks like this. But I want you to notice how fast this is. This is really fast. I was showing you a cascade, nice and slow, but watch how fast a cascade is. That's why I don't want people to start with this one because it's much harder. It looks like this. Oh, almost had it. So fast I can barely do it. Let me try that one more time. Here we go. 1, 2. So it's really fast. These are kind of grippy. So you see that's 3 in a row. That's a tricky thing to do. That took me a long time to learn that, and I'm still not very good at it, right? So why I want you to learn this way is it's much easier way to learn, right? So going back to 2, it's throw, throw, catch, catch. There's a pause. That's where the third ball comes in. I'll put 2 in one hand. And again, do this 10 times in a row without dropping, then you can go to your third one. I'm going to now throw this one to the corner. I'm going to always start with the one that has 2, whether it's to my left or my right, it doesn't matter. That's the first ball that's going to be thrown, one from the one with 2, okay? Let's put it in my right hand for now. So I'm going to throw the same pattern, 1, 2, 3, right? I just put the third ball in there. Now, quite often what I'll get people to do when they're first doing that is just try to throw that third ball, because a lot of times people won't throw that third ball. You'll end up doing this. If this is you going, oh, I forgot to throw it, and you forgot to throw it, just throw it and get it out of your hands. It doesn't matter. I'm going to switch juggling balls for a second because I don't want to get these her nice juggling balls all dirty. I have a pair of these little stainless steel juggling balls. One of my students made me once. These are like chainmail juggling balls. They can take a beating. So I want to show you that again. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then you'll catch. essentially doing 3 is the same as doing 2, except I don't stop. Watch if I count it out in 2s, it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's the same as doing 2, but now I'm just going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I'm not stopping the pattern. You see the difference? 2 is 1, 2, stop. 1, 2, stop. Now 3 is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's really just 1, 2, 1, 2, the same pattern. Okay. This is the part where people go, oh, I don't get it. Remember, don't think of it as 3. Think of it as 2. I'm doing 2 in a pattern, and the third one is just continuing the pattern. Again, 2, right? If you have troubles with 3, go back to 2 until you can get your 2 really solid. And when their 2 are super solid, you're like, those are even throws. I'm not dropping it. Okay, now I've got the third, and I'll go back to the 3, and I'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right. If you do 6 in a row, you've done a full, complete pattern, right? That's 3-ball juggling. Now, how's everybody doing? I know you can't say anything. I don't even know if you're there. I'm assuming you are. If you get, I don't know if people can even message. I'm not sure. Can you message? Yeah. Is there anybody having troubles out there?
They can message. So yeah, they can send.
If you have a message, just send a message. Say, what do I do after this? Again, a good solid standby is to start with 2. And if you go to the 3, even just drop the third one. Just go 1, 2, 3. I quite often will do this to see where the juggling balls are landing. If you find you're chasing them, right, you got to go back to just getting the pattern of the simple, even 1 ball. Go back to 1 if you have to, right? So thank you. Again, I'm going to start with 1. I'm going to do the pattern again. 1, 1, 1, 1. You notice I'm looking where I'm throwing. And then 2, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. When I got it, then you grab your third one. It's the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I am not super fancy juggler. I can do a few small tricks. I bet you Aaron's actually probably a better juggler than I am because he's been doing it so long. But I can do like a few small tricks where I take one. Actually, I'll do it with a colored one so you can see, you can watch the colored one do different things. Let's check this out, see how this works. Okay, watch the green one now. Over top. Over top. Oh, oh. Over top. Try to knock things down over here. Over top. And then we'll do that. That's I think this one's called Over the Moon. And then this next one is called Tennis Player, where it just keeps going back and forth over top. So there's a bunch of different patterns. There's so many different patterns, tons more patterns, but really no point in showing a bunch of patterns until you master the 3-ball. I just lost one over here underneath something over here. So how are we doing for time there? So we got about 10 minutes left. Any questions? No? All right, then I just want to ask Aaron. I want to see Aaron.
Oh, we do have a question actually, Dean. Sorry.
We do?
Yeah, we do. Ms. Horns, grade 5 class at Genesis Online would like to know if it is possible to juggle more than 3 items, Dean.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, no. I've been working on my 4. You can do 3. I've been working on 4. Now, if you want to practice more than 3, how's your 4, Aaron? Do you have?
I might be able to do it here. We'll try. Okay.
I can start the basic principle of it. So if you want to do more than 4, you got to practice doing columns in one hand. Right? You see that's 2 columns in the same pattern. They're doing this. Try doing a column where you're rotating them. 1, 2. You see they're going in a circle. There's 2 different ways you can do 4. You can do them in 2 columns of 2. Right? So 2 separate columns like that, or you can do them in a circle. Practice it with both hands. You got to be able to do it with both hands. 2 columns of 2. This is where I fall down. Right? And then you can do 2 in a circle. Now, 4, in theory, is basically 2 hands doing their own columns. I just start them opposite. It looks something like this. I might be able to get a few of them. Here we go. Oh, no. Just fooling you. Oh, I hit the rice. One more time. See, so many. Now, there are guys that do 5. Oh, let's see. He's doing 2 columns. Look at. Woo! Yeah, look at that. I bow down to you. I bow down to you, Sarah. That was some good 4-ball juggling. Now, how it works with juggling is because you have 2 hands and there's 3 balls, you can do 4, but 4 is 2 separate columns. Now, there are some people who get really fancy, can mix them up, but essentially 2 separate columns of 2. You could even do it like this, where you're doing 2 in that direction, like 2 side by side. Then you go to 5, and 5 is the same pattern as 3, and I cannot do 5. But 5, you go to 5, and then it's the same pattern as 3, but you've got to get them a lot higher, and you end up juggling way up here. There are lots of videos online that guys can do 5. I think the record for juggling balls might be 9. There's some kids in Spain that I watch on YouTube that do 7 all the time, and 7 clubs or 7 rings. But essentially, I think juggling is a really great tool for many reasons. For one, when you're juggling, your brain can only think about juggling. Like, it's just, that's all you can do. You can only focus on juggling. It's also been proven that juggling actually grows brain cells. Why is that? I think it's because we're exercising our muscles. The brain as a muscle, we're using both sides of our brain are firing. Your left and your right are both quite active. And so apparently you will grow brain cells doing it. I have had kids that I have taught in grade 5 and grade 6 who would use it before they went to a test. And one kid said, hey, I've got this test coming up. I was like, hey, let's test it up. Before your test, go juggle for 5 minutes. Just juggle, clear your brain. And she said she came back after the test and said she aced the test. She couldn't believe it. She said she did so well. And, I don't know whether that had to do with the fact that she was juggling, but I think it had the fact that she was exercising that muscle. And then her brain just kind of like emptied out for a minute. And so when she hit the test, the recall was there. Who knows? But all I know is it's really great, a healthy thing for you to do. It's a great tool for just getting both sides of your body working, or even if you can have ability to do one side of your body, you can do that. It's great for all people of all abilities and different levels. So that's why we stand by juggling. We think it's great. There's other things you can get to: juggling clubs, there's juggling rings. Those are, again, more complicated stuff, but basically I just wanted to give you a real basic hit on that. Anything else? I'm trying to think what else we can add here.
No, that's fabulous, Dean. And I really loved how there's so many, like you said, there's so many tricks you can do with 1 ball, with 2 balls. You can invent your own. Like, there's all kinds of, like, the possibilities are just endless.
Here's a great one. For example, if you are if you're at school and you have space, and you hold that thought, if you're at school and have space, you can do things like throw it up in the air, and how many times can I clap before I catch it? Or can I throw it in the air, turn, and catch it? So you can start getting into patterns where you're juggling a higher pattern, you're getting it up higher, and then people will throw it up and go, can I do it? And catch back into the pattern. It's a little low here, but you can throw it up and go right back into the pattern again. So it's a great physical warm-up. It's great for, like I say, hand-eye coordination, and just keeping a good general heart flow and all that kind of stuff. It's a great tool. And you can do it with scarves. If you're at home, you've just got scarves for something like a lightweight scarf. Scarves are a great way to do it. You kind of have to throw them up a little bit more, but scarves work wonderfully. You could probably do it with tissues. Let's see, can we do it with tissues? I need one more. These are fun because they flow a little better. Oh, hang on, these are random. Hang on. You'll get to the point where your parents are like, stop juggling the oranges. Don't juggle the fruit. I tell you, it makes a mess everywhere. They don't like to hit the ground too many times, and it makes them soft. What else? I just think I think that's the kind of thing. If there's any other questions, does anybody else have?
I don't think we have any more questions, Dean, but I've let them know our Jupe School Instagram as well as the Green Fools Instagram. So if you have videos, if you want to take pictures of the juggling ball creations that you've made, please tag us, let us know. We would love to see what you've been up to. So
that would be awesome. And if also you go to the Green Fools YouTube page, not last year, the year before, we did a sort of an online festival that's still there. A lot of the videos are there. There's more tutorials on how to juggle. and other juggling, other objects, fire diablos and plate spinning, and how to do balancing. There's a bunch of other circus type skills that you can check out too.
Cool.
And don't be afraid to try. Like, my hand-eye coordination isn't great, and I kind of had a crash course where I had to learn how to juggle, but I could juggle 3 balls after an hour of learning how to juggle. And I really need to keep practicing. And for some weird reason, I find it easier to juggle 3 than 2. I don't know if my brain is just a little wired weird, but I'm going to go with it.
And I'll say it took me way longer than that. I spent like a year trying to get good at it, or like to get to a point where it's consistent. So also don't give up. That's a really important thing. Don't give up. If it makes you angry and you're like, these things aren't working, put them down, walk away, let your brain will think about it. You come back to the next day. I guarantee the next day you're gonna be better. It's about muscle memory. So we talk about, it's like riding a bicycle. You ride a bicycle. Once you learn how to ride a bicycle, your brain tends to remember it. Once you learn how to juggle, your brain will remember how to do it. It's just practice. That's all it is.
And if you spend 10-15 minutes every day doing it, just 10-15 minutes, that is amazing, and that will get you so far.
And it's a great skill and trick when you go to birthday parties into your friend's house to say, hey, check this out. I can juggle. Look at me. Right? Awesome.
Oh, and the record is 11 balls.
11.
11.
There you go. Yeah. So it is possible, but not by me.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. That's true.
We'll see. Yeah, in a year's time, we'll come back and Thea will show us her 11 ball pattern.
Oh, no.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
My hands
Thank
are
you,
too
Dean.
small. I can barely hold them.
Thank
Okay,
you, Dean
awesome.
and Thea.
Thank you.
What stuff do you have going on with Green Fools at the moment? Because you have a school, you do classes. I know summer season you might be at festivals and things. So
we're booking out our summer camps, our social circus and circus summer camps. So you can go to our website and you can check out the summer camps that we have offering, which offer juggling and tight wire walking and unicycling and aerial and acrobatics and all sorts of fun stuff. So we have summer camps. We also are making a bunch of puppets right now currently for the Calgary Zoo. And so if you're at the Calgary Zoo this summer and you see a bunch of puppets, cool little puppet hands, yeah, hey, grab your marmot. If you see like fuzzy little creatures at the zoo, you'll know where they came from, because these guys will be on parade all summer at the zoo. Thea just made our friendly little neighborhood marmot, Vancouver Island marmot. He's pretty darn cute. So yeah, so that's what we got going on. A lot of that happening. So yeah, check out our website, go to our YouTube page, and you'll see stuff at the zoo.
Fabulous. All right. Amazing. Again, thank you so much, Dean and Thea.
Thanks, Thea.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, friends.